Hi, everybody. I'm here with my friend Anita, who's just like an hour, 40 minutes north of me, but it's been forever since we've seen each other because of this whole coronavirus thing. I'm hoping to see you in person really soon.
Yeah, soon. I have
Yeah.
an idea of something we can do. I'll share it with you later.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
At least we
Okay.
can go. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Really cool.
So I wanted to interview Anita because she is, I think in a lot of ways, we're in a very similar path of exploration right now and probably always have been.
Mm-hmm.
Exploring similar themes, learning similar things, opening and being willing to share ourselves more deeply, although it's challenging. Um, yeah, like when before we were recording, she was talking about her throat and being willing to speak, bring things through. And I have the same thing. And I always know when I need to speak something because I get a
Mm-hmm.
tightness in my throat, and it's like the energy just needs to get out in
Mm-hmm.
some way. So anyway, it's a very long-winded way of saying we have a lot in common. Anita, would you be willing to tell people who are watching just a little bit of your story, how you got to be where you are now and what you're doing, and just
Sure.
a few things?
Sure. I'll try and be as shortened as possible, but I feel like it kind of started when I was a little girl. And so I was raised Catholic and always was drawn to the church for some reason. I didn't want to necessarily go to church, but there was always a presence in the church that I felt there's something deeply there, and I never could figure out what it was. And I think I remember praying one time at church and saying to God, show me my path, show me something that I need to do. And that was when I was like a little girl. Um,
How old? Do you remember how old?
I was 6. Yeah,
Whoa.
6 years old. And and then what happened is right after a year after that, my father passed.
Mm.
And we've talked about this. When you go through trauma, you end up kind of getting stuck in that age. And I got stuck in the 7-year-old age.
Yeah.
So I never really fully experienced joy and playfulness in my life. Fast forward years, I was going to be a teacher, went to college to be a teacher, and something didn't resonate with me there. So I ended up going and studying occupational therapy and I worked in occupational therapy for a couple of years in my 20s, and I worked with spinal patients, neuro patients. I loved pediatrics,
Mm.
and moved from California to Boulder, and then worked in a nursing home. And then I had children.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of children. We had 3 children who were pretty close in age, and I consider it my sabbatical years because I decided, and my husband and I decided it was best for me to stay at home and raise our kids, and I wanted to.
Mm.
Um, I wanted to be a mom. I was I was gifted to be a mother, and I did a kick-ass job at it. I was really good at being present with my kids.
Mm.
I played with them. I did all the school stuff with them. We just had a lot of fun together growing up. And then 10 years ago, we had another little boy, a fourth child, and he was a little bit of a surprise.
Mm.
And well, in between that time, I was at home for a long time, but then I knew I wanted to do something else. So I actually became an EMT.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, my husband was like driving. We decided we wanted to volunteer together in our community. And I was like, oh, how really cool to be an EMT. So I went to EMT school and became a driver of an ambulance.
Huh.
And it was really fun. And yeah, and I was an EMT for a good couple of years when we were living in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. And then had moved around, and then I had my fourth child, and something I had a healing crisis. and I became ill, and just there was an awakening, and I don't even know how to explain it, but I got really sick and very disconnected to myself and very sad. Um, and it was a really hard time for me about 10 years ago after having our fourth child.
Mhm.
My little guy was sick. I was sick. My family was experiencing some health issues, and I basically hit rock bottom.
Mm.
And then I decided, probably about 5 years after he was born, that I needed to make a change in my healing. I had to take control. I had to take control of my healing, because I had gone through so many physicians. I was always trying to figure out what was wrong. You know how you when you're trying to figure out your healing, you look to the external world for
Yeah,
help.
totally. Yeah.
Right. I looked towards healing from and receiving from other people. And I didn't know that I had total control of my own healing process.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I've got to do something, because I can't live like this forever, because it affected our family. It was a really dark time for our family.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to do something. So what I did start doing is I started taking yoga, and I loved Shavasana. I loved that was like my all-time favorite pose. And I'm like, why am I connecting in this lying down position and feeling so present and so
Yeah.
connected to self? And I knew right then and there that it was something I needed to explore. So I became a yoga instructor, studied and became a yoga instructor, and really enjoyed teaching yin yoga. um,
Mhm.
it was just a way for me to calm my nervous system, and I needed to calm my nervous system. Um, so I did that for a couple of years, and then gosh, I don't think I met you. I met Heather, a friend of ours, through NKT. Something happened. I think my daughter took an NKT course with Kathy Dooley in New York City.
Oh,
Yeah, and she said,
interesting.
"Mom, you've got to try this course." And so when we moved back out to Boulder, after I was teaching yoga a little bit, we moved back to Boulder and found out that there was an NKT course here. So
Mhm.
I decided to take a level 1 NKT course,
Yeah.
and that just opened my eyes. I was like, it was a
Mhm.
gateway to learning about muscle testing and the limbic system. And I actually, Jamie, I think I was in my course, that one of the first or second days, and I experienced someone going limbic,
Yeah.
um, and experience. So when, I guess when someone goes limbic, maybe you can explain this better. There was an emotional reaction to a
Oh,
muscle test that was done,
yeah.
and I was like, what is happening? Like, it just blew my mind. I was like, how can someone experience this deep emotion when
Yeah.
there's this
From a
release, right?
muscle test. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so I was instantly drawn to some emotional aspect of that whole concept. And then, yeah, so I started practicing NKT, and what else? Um, oh, I know what happened. I met you because my stalking mentor, I'll tell you, um, because I injured my shoulder. I fell and
Yeah.
ruptured one of my tendons, in my shoulder, and I couldn't get better, and I was
Mm.
very frustrated, because I love to work out. I move, I lift weights, and I love to work out, and I couldn't work out, and I was very frustrated. And I went down and had an appointment with Noah,
Mhm.
and he did testing on me. And I was like, oh, here goes. And he tested an area around my lung. And he said, if you ever tried to explore some emotional work? And I just started crying.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just had a big, big
You went
emotional.
limbic.
I was like, oh, this is what that is.
Yeah.
And so I started crying, and he's like, maybe if I can suggest you meet with Jamie. And And then you did a CRT session on me, or
Yeah.
worked with me on CRT, cellular release therapy.
Hmm.
And I knew then and there I was gonna, there was this, there it goes, that, you know, down a different path.
Yep.
And I wanted to, it was enlightening. It was another awakening.
Hmm.
And so I worked with you, and you actually worked with me on a couple sessions.
Yeah.
And then we were fortunate enough to live in the Denver area. And there was a cellular release therapy course,
Hmm.
and I decided to take it. And I took it
Hmm.
last September,
Hmm.
and got certified in CRT. And it's changed my life,
Hmm.
changed my life. And the whole concept of energy healing is, that's where it begins. That's the foundation for healing right there. You know, you can have physical ailments and illnesses and experience all these things, but I believed in my root source that there's an awakening when you deal with emotional healing, emotional work, and energetic work.
Yes. Yeah. So how
Yeah.
are you using that now? Are you practicing with other people?
So I did. I was working with a couple people, a couple clients, and then, you know, with
Yeah.
this whole pandemic, it just kind of came to a halt.
Mm.
Um, so I work with my family a lot,
Yeah.
and it's been a lot of fun. They've, you know, they've watched me change. They've watched me grow. They think I'm a little wackadoo sometimes, but
Mm.
you know, we,
Good.
yeah, I'm like, this is great. But you know, at the same time, they're like, wow, this stuff really works. And so
Yeah.
I work with some friends,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
yeah, and it's, you know, what I've really come to notice, Jamie, is that I have, and I have a gift of clairvoyance, and I had no idea that I had to explore this. So I can see people's feelings. I
Mm-hmm.
can see it in their eyes. I can see it in their body language, and I just sense it. And I can sense. And I started really sensing it and playing with it with my family, um,
Yeah.
and then with some friends. And so I'm trying to explore that a little bit. Um, yeah,
Amazing.
and I love doing the CRT work. Pardon me.
I said amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
you
you
go.
have you met my friend Wendy yet? Have you had a session with Wendy?
No, is she the one who we did the online
Yeah.
or yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. She's doing free sessions. She might be able to point you in a direction of learning if you were interested in learning more about
Ooh,
being clairvoyant.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just took a 5-day meditation online course, and it was connecting with guides
Hmm.
and connecting with your intuition and your audiences, so to
Yeah.
speak, you know, the clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. And I very in tune with clairvoyance because I meditate, and I meditate very, I meditate faithfully,
And
and
you're visual. You're just a visual person.
yeah, I'm very visual, and I see things. I see guides. I see that, and during my meditation practice, I see very visual things, and so
Yeah.
I had to develop my clairaudience, and it's hard, but you know, it's been fun. It's been a fun journey.
Exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it. And you're in a beautiful place for being able to offer that, for people to be receptive to it
Hmm.
where you are, where you're physically located. It's a really easy area to explore.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely compared to, you're right, the East Coast, or
Yeah.
yeah, right, no.
Well, that's not true. I mean, there are pockets.
Yeah,
There are pockets. New
around
Jersey's a
the
little
clock.
tough.
But you're right, it's much easier here to explore um, different modalities for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to learn next?
So I am really wanting, well, I've been analyzing dreams, and I've bought books
Hmm.
on analyzing dreams, which are
Yeah.
amazing, because I've been, I mean, I'm sure many people have been having so many dreams with these last couple months, but
Yeah.
I've been wanting to understand dreams, and also a shamanic practice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, yeah. One of the things I didn't share, and I don't know why, I just feel like it just came up.
Do it.
Um, about a year and a half ago, I was introduced into plant medicines.
Uh-huh. Cool.
And
Which
yeah,
one?
well, it was, I had a woman come here to Boulder,
Okay.
and she offered journeying here in Boulder with a group of people. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and so it was very mild plant medicines, not ayahuasca.
Capsules
Yes, yeah.
with Kana in them?
Anna, white
Yeah.
lily,
I know
DSM.
this woman.
Oh, you might. I think we've
I
talked about this before.
Yes, I know this woman. She's great. I'm
Yeah,
glad you did that. That's
yeah.
amazing.
It was my first experience doing the plant medicines. I was very open to trying it.
Yeah.
And like I've never explored with any type of plant medicine before, anything.
Yeah.
And so I basically met my higher self, and I was like, holy crap, like this is really, really amazing. I went with the intentions of seeking a relationship with my higher self, and it was beautiful. And so I explored a couple more plant medicine journeys. And the thing is about plant medicine journeys is for me, um, it left me fragmented. It
Mm.
left me fragmented because I didn't know what to do with what I saw.
Yep.
It was an amazing awakening, amazing revealing. I mean, I had a journey with Mary Magdalene,
Mm-hmm.
and a connection with Mary, and I didn't even realize that she was one of my really, connected
One of your
God.
homies.
Yeah, she is. She is like my BFF here. She is, and just a really, really deep journeying. But one thing so they left me fragmented. So doing the CRT work and the meditation work kind of brought everything back together and brought me back to a space where I was grounded. And yeah, it was. So I'm not saying I'll never do it again, but it's definitely been a conduit um, and helping me kind of like piece things together.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think from what I've heard and explored, I've not done plant medicine, but the few circles that I've been a part of that she has had, this person that we both know,
mm-hmm.
um, what I've noticed is the aftercare is important, and there's not a real structured support system for that. People are kind of go off into their own worlds and integrate as best as they can. And some of them do a wonderful job, and some of them come back in to do another journey, not having fully resolved what they
Right,
had or what had come to the surface in
right,
the previous journey.
right.
Um, I do think it was when I was present, I was doing energy work and emotional support work for the people who were journeying. And I do think that was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And people reached out afterwards to say they felt more integrated, more connected, more like they had fully integrated the work rather than just kind of leaving. And I don't know. Yeah. But I do
Yeah.
think that's something that a lot of these plant medicine, like it'd be so great to have a whole team with aftercare that goes into the months after, not just like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
journeys will have like a couple of days afterwards for integration, but I don't know that that's enough for most people.
It's not because the medicine by itself stays in your system for like 72 hours, and
Oh,
you're
wow.
kind of living in this like you're not earthed. You're living in this ethereal place, and to fully integrate, you have to see what you see and be willing to come back and be earthed and
Yeah.
integrate back into the earth and into reality.
Right.
um, and that's the other thing too. Well, kind of a side note, we're met here as beings to play, right? We're on this earth to play, and we're on this
Yeah.
earth to explore and to have life lessons.
Yeah.
And the plant medicine journeys provided me with life lessons, but you have to go beyond that and
Yeah.
learn beyond that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, day-to-day stuff, because it's wonderful to live in outer space, right? And to listen to
Yeah.
celestial beings, like who wouldn't all, I mean, it's perfect there. But that's not the reality of life, but it's okay to play here too.
Yeah. bringing that those lessons into the body
Mm-hmm.
and integrating them in a way that's kind of useful, I guess, or practical.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with a CRT session. When you do the hypnotherapy session,
Yeah.
you might clear a big theme. You might have these really amazing opening experiences when in trance. And then if you just go back into your old rut immediately afterwards, then it's just you played in outer space.
Right, right, right. Well, yeah, the difference with CRT though is you're taking the energy or whatever it is, the storytelling or the fears and beliefs in and it's your, how do I like say, for lack of a better word, like releasing it. It's you're allowing it to be released, but with the CRT work you bring in light and love and healing.
Yeah.
And that's to fill that space, that empty space is,
From what you have cleared. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's huge.
My
That's,
observation with some people, though, is that they can do 100 clearings, 200 clearings, and things don't change
mm,
because they haven't decided, or things change maybe very, very slowly, but they're not acting in their life how they want their life to be. It's like
yeah,
maybe you do the clearing on being a victim, and then you're still acting like a victim. You're still in the story. No matter what you've cleared, like it's still happening
yeah,
and you still feel powerless. So it does take courage to go beyond the plant medicine journey, the CRT session, the meditation session, the Vipassana retreat, like whatever it is, and implement your new knowing into your life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And especially when you're surrounded with family and
Oh
presence of
God, yeah.
other being, like
Yeah.
you can't live in that state. You have to be present. Um, and you have to feel responsibility for your own healing.
Yeah,
It's an
totally.
empowering thing when you take that on for yourself, that own your own healing, and you don't, like you said, you don't play victim perpetrator, um, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're
Mm.
right. I always know when I'm not, I have clues to know when I'm not on the planet.
What is
I,
that?
I bump myself. I get a lot of bruises or I cut my hands doing things. And
Oh,
when I start to notice bruises showing up, things happening to my body, I know that there's some important clearing or important realization I need to have because I'm like a little unconscious.
yeah, yeah, little trance like. I get really foggy.
Mm.
I can't think and I can't focus. It's like a brain fog takes over. It's like living in a little bit of
Ah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I'm like you. I know, something here. What is the next thing that needs to be awakened or
Yeah.
removed or transpired or whatever it is? Yeah.
So what do you do when you get a little brain foggy? Like how do you explore?
Um,
What's your first
so,
go-to?
oh gosh, I love to talk about this because I love to do so much work for myself.
Yeah,
It sounds really selfish,
I
but
would love to hear it. Yeah.
yeah, so one of the things I do, first of all, I use a pendulum,
Mhm.
and I test myself a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm not good at it. And I use it to test myself to see if I'm balanced,
Yep.
if I'm present with myself, and I'm grounded. And then if I'm not, then I will test my meridians, and I go through my organs and meridians, and if I'm unbalanced in a certain area, then I usually have an emotion tied to it or an experience tied to it.
Mhm.
And so I'll think about that and work through that and release that and breathe through it. And it usually just takes like a couple minutes to figure out what it is that feels stuck or yucky or making me brain fogged. It's usually either a person or something or, deep emotion that has to be uncovered.
Yeah.
Um, so I use the pendulum a lot.
Mhm.
I also ground. I go outside and connect with nature.
Mm.
Take my shoes off and ground in the morning, in the evening, and feel the presence of nature. Is earthy and boulder like that sounds.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And um, I'll do that if I feel fatigued.
Mhm.
Um, if I'm tired or kind of foggy in the morning after I test. The other thing I do is I work out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
lift weights. I feel like I'm a mover. My energy is such that if I don't move, then I feel stagnant. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have to exercise. Um, I started a women's weight training group at a local gym here in the fall, and it just kind of watered down a little bit because the gym's closed. But that really made me feel connected and just in touch with.
Like a women's weightlifting circle.
Yeah, it's funny because it wasn't all masculine power driven. It was a beautiful love filled group of women who are just badasses, like
Oh,
a
that's so
really really
awesome.
strong group of women, and all different ages too, all different, like there's some 30 somethings and there's like 60 somethings
Mm.
in the group, and it's anyway, it's a really wonderful thing to have. So lifting weights is huge for me.
Yeah.
um I love to cook um,
I love
and
it.
eat.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things is I love to play with my family. We play
Yeah.
a lot. We are a very, very close family and spend a lot of time together.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fortunate enough that, like I said before, we have a little guy at home with us still. So we're constantly playing games or dancing or, just getting on our hands and knees. I mean, he's 10 now, but we're down playing games with him and playing frisbee with him outside, or, being
Yeah.
outside with him.
Being
So
active with him.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Um,
Wow, 10. So he'll be in sixth grade or
fifth.
fifth grade? Fifth
Mhm.
grade. Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
If the kids go back to school.
Yeah. No. And so the homeschooling thing's the other thing that,
Oh man.
it's been, I had to learn geometry and fractions and all kinds of things, but it's fun. It's, you take it as an opportunity to learn and to play and develop patience.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is he taken to doing his working from home? What have you noticed?
Well, we did notice that there were a lot of breaks in the system, and with him especially.
Mm.
Um, he um, he's been one of those little ones to fall through the cracks. He's such a sweet, loving, just super sweet boy, and
Mm-hmm.
he got away with being so sweet and so loving that academically
Ah,
he struggled. So he
oh,
fell
look at
through the
him.
cracks. So
Yeah.
yeah. So did he want mom and dad to teach him? No, but
Yeah.
we learned a lot about him, and he grew a lot in these last 2 months, like the technology and being more of an independent worker.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was nice. I mean, yeah, there's days where we yell at each other and there's days that, are a little stressful, but overall it's been good. And we're willing to take it on in the fall. So
Yeah. If you need to, right?
yeah, yeah.
I'm noticing, well, I have Jakey's 8 and
Okay.
he is loving being home. He
Um,
loves doing his schoolwork by himself, doing it online, getting it over with, playing all day, doing and not he's a very he's kind of a shy kid.
mm,
Um, and not shy in your usual way in which like withdrawn and introverted, but like if you put him in a group, he'll play on the outskirts and just be watching. He's sort of like me.
I'm like, it
He's
sounds like
very
you're describing
similar to
yourself.
me. Yeah. Like he's willing to be in it, but he's going to be an observer. So for him to not be in all of that energy all day, I think has been a weight off of his nervous system.
Yeah, yeah,
He's more like him. He's more himself right now.
yeah.
Whereas Mia, who's an extrovert, who's like the party starter, there's no parties for her to start. She's like, what is this? This is the worst life ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's true.
she's,
That's how Luke is, kind of like he's very extroverted, like very loves to be around people, but he doesn't like to learn.
yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting. There's days where he'll cry and miss his friends, and then there's days where he's like, "This is so cool. I get to be at home." And
Yeah.
reality is they can finish their schooling within hours.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah.
Yeah, so my kids are coming out soon, because in Massachusetts, school gets out usually in the like June 20th, that
Yeah.
kind of range.
Yeah.
It's later because they go back later.
Right.
They go back around Labor Day.
Right.
So they're just sitting at home. They can't play with their friends, so they might as well come out and be with me and spend
Yeah.
more time with me. And
Yeah.
normally I send them to camp, but Colorado camps this year, like all the kids with masks,
Mhm.
no swimming, no field trips, no playing together.
Right.
Like
Right.
that sounds lame. So we're going to
Yeah.
have them home and they're going to finish their school year with me
Hmm.
and then we'll
Oh, that's
just
nice. That's
I
gonna be
know
beautiful.
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
You can hike. You can, the trails are open.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
gonna get them bikes.
yeah.
I gotta
Yes.
find them bikes because their bikes are way too small.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not. Every year I have to get them new bikes when they come for the summer, and then they use them for 6 to 8 weeks, and then it's like, okay, free bike on the curb again.
That's funny.
It is
But it's
funny.
true. They do grow. They do grow.
Yeah, very
But
quickly.
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the summer, and you're right, it is a challenging thing to learn. It's been interesting to watch, especially Mia navigate this lack of social life that she's
Mhm.
not used to, and it's like she's having a midlife crisis. She's like, what is life even about? Like that's what she said to me on the phone the other day. Like,
So
what is
deep.
all of this for? I was like, I know, girl. I
We get
know.
you. You're
I'm
saying what
glad
most
you're having
people
the big questions come up now. And work them out in your preteens before you're like hit 40 like I did.
Yeah, and some of us like 50-ish.
Right.
Yeah.
I think most women do. God, there's two times in life, according to astrology. There's the
Hmm.
Saturn return. Is it Saturn around age 28?
Yeah.
And then there's Chiron return, which is 50.
Yes. And I'm in the Chiron. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a shift. And I wasn't, when I read about that, I was like, oh, that makes sense because there's just it's like a midlife crisis in a way,
Yeah.
but an awakening, and it's a beautiful thing. But
Yeah. It's
yeah.
just okay, I need to let go of all the ideas about myself from age 0 to 50. And now who am I in this part of my life?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing, coming in tune with the feminine aspect of my being, and also balancing now more masculine energy, because I feel like I've never been in tune with that. So we
Mm-hmm.
talked a little bit about having dreams, and a lot of dreams are manifesting themselves in a masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, oh, okay. So it's not just the female and the male aspect. It's definitely a masculine energy and a feminine energy. And my feminine energy is on fire right now. It feels, with a humble heart, I feel more connected to my source and my roots than I ever have been. And something's going to unfold.
Right. Just what well, first of all, have you ever heard of Marianne Woodman?
Um,
Do you know who that
uh,
is?
that
She's
sounds
a
familiar. I'm not sure.
she's a Jungian scholar who writes these amazing books about dreams and the feminine and the masculine, and you'd love them.
Oh,
One of them is called Leaving My Father's House,
oh, I have
which
that.
is about, do you?
Yes, you actually
Amazing.
recommended it to me.
Oh,
That's funny.
good.
That's why I was like, why does that name sound familiar? Yeah,
And there's
amazing.
another one that talks about the inner marriage of the masculine and the feminine. So in your dreams, be watching for you in a wedding gown.
Oh,
If you
wow.
haven't had those dreams already, though, I'm sure they're on their way, where you are getting married to your masculine half. You're
Mm,
coming into unity with.
okay. That's beautiful, because in real life, in day-to-day living, that masculine and feminine energy can collide
Yeah,
with your spouse, with your significant other. And it has been,
yeah,
because my husband is not used to me having the fiery feminine
Oh,
energy.
such a voice. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I can't wait. I'll look for my wedding dress in like 6 months. It'll be beautiful.
You get married all over again.
Yay, yay, it's about
Uh,
time.
I
No,
keep
but
having these dreams about getting married. And
wow.
a lot of them have to do with being married, but like trying to find a bathroom in my wedding gown. Like I
You know,
really
that
have to
could
pee.
actually, yeah, that could actually, the bathroom has to do with your elimination system and
Hmm.
your relieving, right? Relieving something toxic or negative from your life.
Yeah. And for me, a lot of it has to do with being creative, letting it flow and
Um,
being willing to let it
yes,
flow.
yes.
So my last dream I had about this, I was in front of a lecture hall of people and I had two choices of toilets that I could use. One of them was a short one and one of them was very high and I would have to climb on a ladder to get to it.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I would use like them in front of everyone. And so I chose the high one. Isn't
You took the high road. That's awesome.
that interesting?
Your
So
higher
anyway,
self, moving upward and onward.
yep, I'm going to pee in front of a whole crowd.
There's some confidence right there.
Awful. Anyway.
The
So
dreams are
how so I know before we started you there's a SoundCloud that you have
yes,
where you have beautiful meditations,
yes.
and then you also had not a YouTube channel. What's the other thing
I
that
made a blog.
you have a blog?
I
Thank
I
you.
stepped out of my insecure comfort zone and created a blog. And I live in Boulder, and I named it Anita Gets Boulder, and it's
Uh-huh.
Boudel.
I love it.
Thanks.
It's like the best
And
name
talk a
ever.
little bit. Thanks. I talk a little bit about my path, my journey, and
Nice.
the work that I do, CRT work. Um, I recently took a course in inner dialogue
Mm-hmm.
with Anne and Robert. That was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful because in hypnotherapy, when you're when we're working in CRT, you're not having a one-on-one conversation with someone. It's
Right.
more suggestions and directions, and inner dialogue is actually speaking with and
Mm-hmm.
having a conversation with someone. It's a beautiful way of releasing feelings
Yes.
and thoughts. So yeah,
Okay, so I can link to the excuse me, I can link to the blog for people
yeah,
to read more about you. And
thanks.
oh, we could just talk forever, but I have to jump on with someone else.
Well, we'll talk also, Jamie, about there's a place. I just have to share this really quick because it's
Yeah.
in Boulder. It's
Okay.
called Revive, Revibe, and
Okay.
it's this gentleman has a studio, and it's a sound vibrational healing board, and
Oh, neat.
that's beautiful, and I'd love to go with you one time. It's really
Yes.
cool. Um, another modality, amongst the many that are out there, and it's a really
Amazing.
cool meditation modality. But anyway.
Is he open now or is it closed
He
for
is.
the
He is open
oh,
now. Yeah. It's taking, social distancing. I think instead of 8 people in the room, there can only be 2 at a time.
oh,
But yeah, look it
that's
up.
dope. I'll private message you. I
Cool.
have a very open week.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe we can do that. Fun. Okay.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on and chatting and telling so many things about just your path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been
Okay.
beautiful.
Goodbye for
Onward
now.
and upward. Thanks, Jamie.
You're welcome.